Thinking of playing your free hit in Game Week 34? Here's a draft for you. Now this week I found it really quite challenging to come up with my favourite 15 players that you can select in a draft. And I thought you might too. So what I've done is I've pulled off the top players by position for expected points this game week according to DraftHound. DraftHound, I have a sign up link in the description if you want to get involved with the platform. Essentially you can see the top players for expected points for every game week, the clean sheet odds, the goal scoring odds. They've got all the stats you need to help you with FPL, and you can sign up in the description below. But yeah, top of the list for goalkeepers this week is Alisson, followed by Ederson, Steele, De Gea and Fabianski. Those are the guys obviously with double game week, and it makes sense this week to be picking players with a double. In defence, we've got Trent, Robertson, Stones, Van Dijk, Diaz, Konate, and you can see the rest of the players on the list there. Hopefully this gives you an idea of the top players you should be picking in goal and in defence. Next up, we've got the midfielders and the forwards. It's no surprise that Salah and Haaland lead the way for expected points. I guess regardless of what the rest of your team looks like, Salah and Haaland have to be in your team. Following Salah in midfield, we've got De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Rashford, Gakpo, Foden, Gundogan and Antony. You have to take some of these stats with a pinch of salt because it doesn't necessarily suggest that all these players are going to start. It just lists, if they do start, this is their expected points. So you have to use your own calculation in terms of minutes. One thing I will say, though, is that the pool of strikers in the game for Game Week 34 is very small. There aren't many to choose from with a double game week that are pretty safe to start. So I think that sort of steers you towards certain formations. But yeah, like I said, Salah and Haaland are shoo-ins to your team. And to be honest, quite a lot of these players that are top for expected points should probably make their way into. Okay, so starting off with my draft. In goal, I've gone for Ederson and Trent, Shaw and Estupinian in my defence. Ederson in goal is obviously the second best goalkeeper for expected points, and I'm already tripled up on Liverpool, a bit of a spoiler there. So I've had to go for Ederson in goal. I'm not a massive fan of Ederson, although I do think Man City are going to keep at least one clean sheet this week, which is what I've gone for him. But ultimately, Ederson, you're only going to get points from him 4 clean sheets. He averages just about 1 save per game. So you're never really going to get that saves bonus points from him. It's just the clean sheets. But I think Man City can keep one with their double game week. Trent, Shaw and Estupinian in defence. Trent, he's the top scoring defender for expected points, at least this game week. And I think he's a great option. Another one that I would consider to be essential for your team. And really with Trent, he has no competition for his position in that Liverpool team. So you've got to think he's nailed to play both games of the double. I've gone for Luke Shaw. Man United really impressed me in the Cup semi-final defensively without Varane and Martinez. I think Shaw filled in at left centre-back really well. That role may continue, and I think Man United may continue keeping clean sheets as well. Estupinian is my third defender. I don't like him as much as the Liverpool and Man United guys, but because he's 4.8 million, he's the best value Brighton defender in the game in my opinion, and it makes sense to have him in my team. So I've gone for a 3-5-2 with this team. So my 5 midfielders are Mitoma, Rashford, March, Grealish and Salah, with Diogo Jota and Haaland up front. The one player I'm a little bit iffy on is obviously Diogo Jota. I think the rest of the guys, given Foden's, he had appendicitis, so I think he's just recovering from the surgery for that. So I just feel like Grealish is probably nailed to play both games of the double, or at least feature heavily. If he doesn't start the second game, I think he gets good minutes. So I think he's pretty safe. But Jota, not too sure about him. But ultimately, there's a really short selection of forwards, and I think just because he's been playing the best of like the rest of the Liverpool front three, obviously Salah's the best, and then it's the other two that play that's a bit of a mystery. But I feel like on your free hit, you can take a bit of a punt that Diogo Jota's going to play both games. And ultimately, comparing him to some defenders you could pick, because obviously you could make this team a 4-5-1. I feel like Jota is stronger than any other defender, even if he didn't necessarily play the full 180 minutes. I think just with the upside he has, playing for Liverpool, 2 home fixtures, Tottenham and Fulham, I think there are goals in those games, whereas I'm a little less trustworthy of the Liverpool defence. So I'm happy to be singled up and then take a bit of a risk on Jota. The rest of this midfield then, so we've got Mitoma, Rashford, March and Salah. As I said with Salah, I think he's the best of the Liverpool options. And when going through the expected points, he's pretty much a shoe-in into your team this week. Matoma and March are my two favourite Brighton midfielders. I know McAllister has the free kicks and penalties, but he also plays, well, he's playing a lot deeper at the moment in that central defensive midfield role, whereas Matoma and March are absolutely integral to that Brighton attack. Rashford, he's ultimately the best Man United option in the game, and I think his double game week looks really good. Already spoken about Jack Grealish, and it goes without saying that Erling Haaland's got to be in your team, and he's currently my captain. And there's the rest of the team there. I've gone for Fabianski as my bench goalkeeper. I mean, ultimately, he was the one I could squeeze in that I wasn't tripled up on, that had a double game week. But as you saw on the top goalkeepers, you can see some players for expected points if you want to change that. Gone for Dalot, similarly to Shaw, although he's just a bit less nailed, really. So I've gone for him on my bench. Stones as an alternative to Luke Shaw. If you fancy the Man City defence over Luke Shaw, just start Stones instead, basically. And then Sam Greenwood from Leeds. He's 4 million, a striker. He just filled a hole that no one else could. And that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you took some inspiration from my free hit draft, let me know in the comments. Or if you found the expected point stats useful to come up with a draft of your own, please do the same. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like rating and subscribe to the Goal and Goal channel. I'll be back again this week with another video. See you in the next one.